Very good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the RTA IndyCar Championship. What a first 3 weeks we've had, and it's time for round number 4 at a very, very unique venue for America's premier single-seaters. And we're, of course, Ireland's premier sim racing series live on Gantry TV. My name is Evan Dalton. Ronan Hederman is behind the scenes. It's an absolute pleasure to bring you to Daytona Beach, Florida, which, of course, as we said, is our 4th stop on this mental calendar so far. We head south from the Brickyard Indianapolis Motor Speedway to the second most famous oval in America, but this time we are on the famous sports car course. You may recognize it from the opening titles of the new F1 movie. You may also recognize it from one of the greatest endurance races in the world. There is a chicane there, but it is the 3.56 mile sports car course with the lap record held by Alex Palou in the 2022 Rolex 24. It has a 31-degree banking on the oval. This is going to be very interesting. It's a lovely sunny day here, about 80 kilometers north of Orlando on West International Speedway Boulevard, and there's not much wind. It is a perfect day for racing, about as good as they come. What a season we've had so far then. And of course, last week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in what is usually the main IndyCar event of the season, but of course all our events are equally weighted, so every week is just as good. We had 3 separate winners in the forms of Sean McGovern, Dylan McClements and Brandon McGowan, and that has set up the championship nicely. And at the top end of it is none other than your LMP2 Cup champion Dylan McClements, who is leading. And then in second place, we have Peter McCann still up there, but Peter missing tonight. He'll take tonight as his drop round. It's then Conor Melia, who is in third, who, of course, unfortunately lost the win last week in Indianapolis. Didn't pit for a mandatory pit stop in the 20-minute heat number 3, so that saw him disqualified. Very disappointing for Conor Melia. Ronan Doherty then in 4th, ahead of Brandon McGowan in 5th. Then it is Tony Stack, David Ward, who was very quick on the oval, Andrew Murphy, Kevin Joyce, and Brian McCarthy finds himself in 10th position. And then a little bit further back, it is Ken Doyle, Wayne Douglas, Dermot Toomey, Emmett Dempsey, Jordan Kelly all the way down in 16th, and it is Danny Dempsey, Simon Hutchings, Jason Smith, and Sean McGoldrick. But we've a couple of familiar faces missing tonight, so we have the possibility of another surprise winner. All 3 of our winners last week all have Mac in their name. I wonder will there be a theme tonight. It is the 2 D surnames who are at the top, Wayne Douglas, Ronan Doherty here in practice, as our practice is coming to a conclusion. But of course, briefly touched on it in the introduction, Daytona. This is a bit of a weird one, lads, because we're in a road course IndyCar and we're on a Roval. IndyCars race on, I suppose you could say, one Roval technically, that is in Indianapolis, but we don't touch the banking, we just touch the main straight, and this is a totally different challenge. So usually with IndyCars you have your oval spec car and you have your road course spec car. Your oval spec car is what we saw last week with your almost chicken bone of a rear wing, chicken bone of a front wing, absolutely nothing in terms of aerodynamic grip, and it's just full send it in, 260 mile an hour, send it through the corners. Tonight it's difficult because we have the road course spec, as we see Sean oh, that's not a good start to the evening, but we see the road course spec car, which in every car other than Sean McGovern's has grip through the corners, but then you have to head onto the oval, which is quite difficult. You can see Kevin Joyce here. He's going in practice. He's going to be battling with it just to keep it in a straight line almost. Kevin and Ronan last week touched briefly on how the IndyCars are set up to traditionally turn, or the steering wheel is at a right angle almost on a traditional oval. We're not going to have that tonight because we're not running the oval spec car. So that's something interesting to keep an eye on throughout qualifying, is that this is going to be quite difficult tonight to keep control of your car and to get as much speed out of it as possible, because these cars are not built for this circuit, and that is a very, very interesting topic. The circuit, of course, was set to be built by Bill France Sr., a famous legend of the NASCAR world, when he put in a proposal on April 4th, 1953, and then eventually got started building it in 1957. So it must have been a local Irish county council who was in charge of approving the planning of this one. Racing moved from the beach first and started here in what is now a famous cauldron of sports car racing and of NASCAR. And our first sports car race, the first edition of the Rolex 24, so to speak, took place in 1966, which was a 3-hour race. Now, of course, we race on 24. Almost 12, 13 years ago, on July 5th, which is a fabulous date, by the way, for no specific reason, 2013, ground broke on a brand new $400 million renovation project, and that included 101,000 new permanent seats and also 40 escalators, which is actually one of the most escalators in an indoor building in the world, seemingly, but I'm sure someone out there will be able to fact check me on that one. So, it's safe to say this circuit has a lot of money, a lot of heritage, a lot of history, and now qualifying is underway, and we're going to send 23 of Ireland and the world's top sim racers round it to qualify in IndyCars. You're looking at Team Didier. The two McClemens brothers, of course, match liveries with Ronan Doherty splitting them in between in his funky pink, purple and yellow machine. He'll be looking to take another win this season. Hasn't won since round one, where he did take 2 wins, of course, in Road America and was really quick there. Hasn't taken a pole position just yet. He lost out marginally in round one to Sean McGoldrick, you might remember. So he'll be looking to take pole here tonight, and of course will be getting a slipstream from his 2 cousins and 2 teammates, as they usually do. Dylan McClemens, then championship leader, has 2 wins this season. It's not often you get a 2-win season from Dylan McClemens. As a matter of fact, he hasn't had one in 4-5 seasons. He won a championship since then. In the LMP2s, he only took 1 win. In the Formula Vs, he only took 1 win. British Touring Car Championship and F4s didn't take any wins. So Dylan has equalled his last 4 season tally in the last 2 weeks. It was controversial circumstances in Watkins Glen, of course, and he did pick up a penalty in that final race. But with the way RTA works, he does keep the win. Let's ride on board then with Dylan McClemens, heading in towards the first corner and braking immediately for turn number 1. You're using absolutely everything on the outside, almost clip the grass on the inside, and then battle your way through turn 2 and 3. Then you're in towards the International Horseshoe, 1 or 2 corners, and a big overtaking opportunity in your sports cars, all the way down to first gear, and then rally through the gears on exit. Use all of that outside runoff, and you can get a great run down towards the dogleg of turn number 4. Flat through here, then you're braking in the middle of that asphalt part on the left hand side. Use all of the right hand side yellow curb and rotate it through the west horseshoe, and then you're in towards turn number 6 and 7. Braking once again halfway through on the asphalt and rotate the car all the way to the outside of this corner, and then you're heading on to turn 8, which is the banking. Now you're waiting in anticipation for the most crucial braking zone on this circuit that will absolutely make or break your lap. It is the Le Mans chicane, the bus stop as it's more famously known, but rebranded to the Le Mans chicane 2 years ago. Braking just at the yellow board in between the 2 and the 1, rotate it in, bounce on every single bit of the curb, bobble your way over Daytona's bumps, hold on for dear life, and get a great exit out on towards the final bit of the banking. Dylan getting a fabulous tow from both Ronan Doherty and Sean McClemens here. Once again, hug that yellow line. Now as the circuit flattens out, you almost want to run all the way over, and sometimes over that yellow line again, and Dylan getting a fabulous tow as we cross the start-finish line, and Dylan McClemens will go quickest. Sorry, Ronan Doherty will go quickest, actually. So Ronan going quickest, Jordan Kelly in second, Wayne Douglas then in third, and it is Sean McClemens, David Ward, then Dylan McClemens, Kevin Joyce, Ken Doyle, Andrew Murphy, David Prunty. Andrew and David opting for the primary tyres, not going for the quicker alternates. So we expect to see them improving throughout the evening. A big hello to everybody who is watching at home. Hello, Johnny. Hope you're keeping well. Hello to Peter McCann as well, who's missing tonight. And hello to Sean McClemens, who was commenting on the stream earlier, being cheeky as usual. Good to see Sean here for once. Now looking at what is a very funky livery. I'm not too sure who that is, but that is a very, very funky livery. Seems to be the number 59 at a quick glance. As rounding, it's David Ward, actually, apologies. So it is David Ward, who ran very well on the oval last week, picking up couple of top fives, finishing in 4th in heat number 1, and that was a stellar result for him. He'll be looking to repeat that tonight, or apologies, got 3rd actually, I should say, in heat number 1, and then 4th in heat number 2, as well as the podium in heat number 3. So was way off our front two, Brandon McGaughan and Sean McClements, but did pick up a podium nonetheless. McGaughan and McClements separated by 0.018 last week. They thought they were battling for 2nd, but it was the battle for the win, and Brandon McGaughan narrowly pipping Sean to take a win on the first ever oval race here in RTA. Team DDR are in the pit lane. They're satisfied enough with their lap. And I'm going to bring in our broadcast director for the first time on the microphone, Ronan Hederman. Ronan, I know IndyCars were still relatively new to them, but are you looking forward to tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said last week, wasn't really used to the going left bit, but yeah, this is more familiar territory to me. I've done quite a few endurance races here, so very much familiar with it, and yeah, very much looking forward to being back on a road course.
Yeah, you're not the only one who's looking forward to being back on a road course. Of course, Sean McClements saying, get me back on a road course last week. Although, weirdly, his best results of the season came in the oval, so bit of a mixed bag there. But I think a lot of drivers are looking forward to getting back to the road course. Now, heading in towards the chicanes is Wayne Douglas in what is an almost Joseph Newgarden coloured machine. He usually runs the blue PPG scheme, was running it in mid-Ohio, where his race didn't even last a corner, to the cheers of Arrow McLaren and Chip Ganassi fans everywhere. But Wayne Douglas has been stellar in these IndyCars so far, but hasn't taken a win. He's very quick in them and will be looking for one tonight. Here he comes across the start-finish line. Let's see, is this going to be an improvement on his qualifying time so far? It isn't. So he will stay in 3rd behind Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty. Brandon McGaughan lapping well as well, has a purple sector, and you can see him now actually backing off on that one. So he's not going to be improving. 2 orange sectors heading in towards the Le Mans chicane. So not improving there. He's going to be giving someone a tow down the back straight, and he'll be looking to improve on his next run. Still quite a few on the primary tyres, which is interesting to see. Andrew Murphy's just jumped up to 8th on those primaries. Tyre wear is going to be a big talking point tonight, because the optimum run time of the primaries is not going to last for our full 20-minute heat in heat number 3. So we're going to see some tyre saving. I can't imagine we're going to see pit stops, but we'll definitely see some strugglers out there who burn through their tyres quickly. Push to pass is going to be a big talking point as well. Of course, we have it tonight because this is technically classified as a road course. You don't usually get it on ovals, but of course, because we have the road course element to this circuit, you do get the push to pass. So drivers are going to have to manage that. You get 200 seconds, and usually it's not really an issue to burn through 200 seconds. You can burn every single lap and still have enough, but if you're burning every time we enter one bit of the banking, you're going to use that up pretty quickly. So there is a game there to be played. We'll see who plays it best. David Ward now we are on board with in the driver's eye view, just looking out the aero screen, and a very realistic look of an IndyCar, this one. David Ward, Pato Ward, similar enough names, and he's reaching similar success, especially on the ovals anyways, crossing the start-finish line, and he will improve. He'll beat Sean McGaughan, and he's up to 6th position, so good lap there by the funky coloured machine of David Ward. 8 minutes and 50 completed here in qualifying out of the 15 minutes. Not been a very dramatic qualifying session, certainly. Drivers just getting their laps in and bedding down. Here's Jordan Kelly getting a nice slipstream from the car in front. That's number 14 who's towing him round. That's Emma Dempsey who's giving Jordan Kelly a tow, and that puts a purple sector 5 in, but won't be an improvement. Dylan McClements absolutely flying. He has every colour on the board so far, green, purple and orange, and as Dylan McClements crosses across the start-finish line, he's going to jump up onto the front row alongside Ronan Doherty. So 2nd place for Dylan McClements, and Doherty 129.917, Dylan McClements 129.918, only 1,000 separating them, which is bonkers around a almost 6-kilometre circuit. So fair play to Dylan McClements and Ronan Doherty putting in unbelievable times there, and it was actually Ronan who was towing Dylan around as far as I can tell. So Ronan now is going to have to favour return to him. Team DDR once again working as the teammate outfit that they are. One of few families in motorsport who seem to to get along together. Speaking of families in motorsport, of course, we have the Dempseys, and Emma Dempsey ran very well last week in Indianapolis, picking up a 5th place finish in heat number 2, picking up a 6th place finish in heat number 3. And that 5th place last week for Emma Dempsey is the best result for any member of the Dempsey family since Keith Dempsey finished 3rd. Where did he finish 3rd, you might ask? Well, it was on the 19th of March 2024 when he finished 3rd in round 1 of the GT4 Cup in Brands Hatch back, well over a year ago. So Emma delivering for the Dempsey family, and of course Danny Dempsey will be looking to pick up many a podium as well in his long RTA career to come. Evan Walsh improves to 8th position, making his debut in the IndyCar tonight. He's had enough of that scrap of a Z-Tech, so he decided to go for a proper single-seater here. And you can see running a similar enough scheme is Evan Walsh. I really hope I'm not on the back of this one again, but I don't think I am, thankfully. So Evan Walsh into the pit lane, setting a pretty decent lap there. It's a totally different thing to get used to. Although Evan Walsh's Z-Tech sometimes turns right on the straight anyway, so he'll be fine. He'll be fairly used to the ovals, or certainly with the tracking job that was done on it. It was definitely turning right on the straight, but thankfully the Conaheys and Jordan Kelly managed to get that one sorted out late on the Saturday night before round number 2. But anyways, I digress. I still want to be allowed into Mondello Park, so I digress. Kevin Joyce we're looking at now, weaving his way around the banking. Has stood on the podium this season, of course, has Kevin Joyce, finished second, yes, in heat number 3 in Watkins Glen. Was unlucky not to get a podium, actually, in Indianapolis, because he came up with a really good tactic, and it was in through turn number 1, where he kind of held off, and then absolutely bombed it through the second corner, because he had the grip. He got out of that aero wash, got out of the dirty air, bombed it, and then got a brilliant run down the backstretch. Was able to overtake in towards turn number 3. So similar savvy tactics from Kevin Joyce tonight. We'll have to wait and see. Wayne Douglas improved, 5th spot for Wayne Douglas. Conor Amelia has also improved, he's up to 4th. Seen his worst, Wayne Douglas into the wall. He won't get another lap in, I don't think. That's disappointing for Wayne Douglas, but didn't seem to be pushing too hard anyways. Back on to Conor Amelia. Seen as we're speaking about Mondello in our end of qualifying rundown of Irish motors, which, God, it's almost like I should be doing a podcast about these things. Conor Amelia finishing 2nd, of course, in the Selco.ie Formula V's in Mondello. So great performance for Conor Amelia there, and puts himself in a championship fight, really. Himself and Gavin Buckley, a right tussle in terms of the championship there. So we'll need to keep an eye on them. They, of course, head up north next time, but this is RTA Sim Racing, not ICC or so. That'll be the last of the ICC or talk for the next 5-10 minutes at least. I'm going to save the Sean McGovern stuff until later. Ollie Merited gets a lap on the board, so he'll at least be in the field, but it is down the back, unfortunately, for young Ollie, who has been running okay in this IndyCar, mind you. Of course, focused on his karting career, focused on heading into the grass, it seems, a little bit, and has he beached himself there a tad? No, he's still going, so that's alright. Was just waiting to see if the track was clear. It's almost like Ronan's trying to get me to talk about ICC, or the fact he's put Josh Brown on the screen. Josh Brown, of course, one who maybe didn't have the most successful weekend in Mondello, actually got absolutely clattered into in one of the Z-Tech races. So speaking of bad Z-Techs, his one is fairly whacked. Josh Brown running the Marcus Ericsson livery, and coincidentally took out Sean McClemens last week, who was in the number 5 in towards turn number 3. So as a Pato Award fan, that kind of struck the PTSD right in the nose. If you know, you know. If you don't be worried. It's just more motorsport drama. Speaking of Sean McClemens, currently in 7th position, getting a tow from Doherty in front, but he'd like to jump up the order that little bit more. The only thing here is it's absolutely ridiculously close in qualifying. Sean McClemens is 7th with a 1:31.1. Ronan Doherty is on pole with a 1:29.9. 0.3 of a second, if even, separating the top 7. That is stupid. And here comes Sean McClemens up across the line. That's a 29.9 as far as I can tell. He's going to jump up the order here, is he? No, might have been invalid. Might have got the lap on the board, and that'll be that. Won't get another time in. It is going to be Ronan Doherty, who is on pole position here, unless there is another shock around the field. And very interestingly, Connor Melia and Wayne Douglas, 4th and 5th on the primaries, not the alternates, not the quicker tyre. So they have a lot of pace in the locker to use here in the heat races. But qualifying has been completed. And now we get into the main action of the evening. It's Ronan Doherty of Team DDR on pole, and it is a Team DDR front row lockout. Dylan McClements in second, Jordan Kelly in third, ahead of Connor Melia in fourth. Then it is Wayne Douglas, Brandon McGowan, Sean McClements, Evan Walsh, David Ward, and Kevin Joyce. Then it is Sean McGowan, Andrew Murphy, Jamal Gandor, Simon Hutchings, Finley Melvin, Tony Stack, Ken Doyle, David Prunty, Emma Dempsey, and Josh Brown. And then unfortunately starting outside the top 20, but still plenty of time to improve, is Phil Upson, Ollie Meredith, and Dara Halley. No time on the board for Dara Halley. Thanks to everyone who's tuning in so far, and thanks to iRacing. We're not going to have to do the full lap under formation, otherwise I would totally run out of stuff to talk about. Big thanks to everyone tuning in still. Hello to Kamto Chukwa, who is watching along from his Leaving Cert holiday. Trip with the lads, and he still finds time to tune into RTA. That is true commitment, as Johnny Hollywood has now resulted to talking about gold mines in the Ivory Coast. Obviously I don't have time to read the context of that, but is he talking about Connor Melia's flags still being wrong? Yeah, that was Johnny Hollywood. My uncle used to run a gold mine in the Ivory Coast. I know that sounds like the start of a joke, but it's actually like every time I speak to Johnny or I learn something about Johnny, he just gets cooler. Like, I think he might be one of the coolest men I know. Where'd you pull that out of? Ronan Hederman? Any uncles who run mines in sub-Saharan African countries?
Nope. Don't even know where you wanted me to go with that one, to be honest. But
I don't know. I just want to drink the water, to be honest. I don't know where to go.
Yeah, no, this should be good. I'm just so glad we're back to a road course, and I think probably the majority of the grid from the comments last week are glad to be back on a road course as well. I know McClements was one, Ronan Doherty was one. They were like, oh, ditch the ovals, please. But look, they asked for it, and they didn't even want to go for feature races, so they kind of deserve it.
I'm absolutely gutted that I miss Indianapolis still. I'm kind of raging, but let's hope tonight's action makes out for. Kamto Chukwa are giving us an update on how his holiday's going. Got my priorities. Half of them have gone to a restaurant. Other half is at home playing Clash of Clans. I'm watching the best sim racing series in Ireland. The other half of them is playing Clash. You've gone on a holiday. What are you doing? I don't like. I consider myself like nerdy and like, I mean, some of the stats that I read out, like, clearly you sit at home doing nothing half the time. But what are you going on holiday playing Clash of Clans? I don't know. Why am I giving a lecture? Turned it into an outfla. Turned into Ronan Hederman. Anyways, here we go then. We're on the banking. And we have 23 2.2 litre twin turbocharged V6 machines that'll be getting close to 700 horsepower or thereabouts. Let's have a look and see then. Only two going for the alternate tyres. That is Sean McGovern and Dara Halley. So that might play early in the race. We will see though, as we're headed. Pace car is in. No, not quite. It will be in now. We're heading towards the start-finish line, and Ronan Doherty will be looking to get the jump here. No shenanigans on the pace car race, on the pace car start, and Ronan Doherty puts foot to the floor, and we go racing here at Daytona. It is Ronan Doherty in the race lead. Jordan Kelly immediately looking to put young Dylan McClements under pressure in towards the first corner as they all come barreling close to that inside wall. Good start from Wayne Douglas here with Brandon McGowan, as it is very, very clean through the first little complex. No rash overtakes. Everyone taking it oh so careful. Oh, there we go. There's the rash overtake. It's Kevin Joyce barreling down the inside of David Ward, and there is someone gone miles off, and it is Sean McGovern. That alternate tyre strategy has not worked. That is usually the tyre that fires up quickest, so Sean McGovern not getting the best start, and that is Connor Melia who's gone off. That is one of the championship contenders, Connor Melia, who's gone off in towards the Western Horseshoe. Very disappointing for Melia, and we might have to have a look at that one after the first lap has been completed. Round there is another spin as well. It's Evan Walsh who's gone round. Very new to this car is Evan Walsh, and unfortunately spinning it round and won't, or he is able to continue. but won't be too happy with himself for there. Here's Brandon McGahan weaving to the outside in his own Newman Haas livery. Wayne Douglas defending in towards the bus stop, and Douglas will keep this one. Brandon not going for anything too rash, not going for anything too silly very early on in this one, but the front three are away. It was very close in qualifying, not as close between the top three and the rest of the field. Finlay Melvin is now dropping down the order, so he's encountered some problems, and that problem would be that he's missing one of his tyres. It's not on his tethers, and it is bobbling along like an uneven shopping trolley heading down towards the chicane. Ronan Doherty leads us through the first lap then, and it will be Dylan McClemens in second. Then it is Jordan Kelly, Wayne Douglas, Brandon McGahan, Sean McClemens, David Ward, Kevin Joyce, Andrew Murphy, and now it's Ken Doyle and Jamal Gandor who are battling. Biggest gainer on the opening lap was actually Dara Halley, not Ken Doyle, but Ken Doyle was second, up 6 positions. And now we'll have a look at our first God Bless America replay of the evening. This is what happened to Conor Amelia then. Was running very strong in fourth under pressure. It's hardly a mistake under his own accord, is it? Conor Amelia breaking in towards the Western Horseshoe. That is an Alex Palou-esque mistake. And we saw the weekend in Mid-Ohio, just locked the brakes, ran wide, and very rare for someone who knows these cars inside out, knows they're not up to optimum speed on the first lap. You have to take it handy. Conor just over pushing a little bit. Here's Finlay Melvin. What has happened to him this time then? Heading through the bus stop, worst line I've ever seen. Loses it and spins straight into the path of Conor Amelia. So Conor's had better first laps, it's safe to say. And Finlay Melvin, that is why he lost his tyre. Just way too ambitious, and as Martin Brundle would say, ambition outweighed adhesion in towards the chicane, and unfortunately Finlay taking Conor out in the process. Here's David Ward and Kevin Joyce then 3 minutes into this one. They're battling for 7th position. Top 3 are keeping it pretty cool. Last time, or not last time, one of the last times we visited the Roval here at Daytona was in the Mustang America's Cup, and Ronan Doherty and Jordan Kelly practically sat very similar to what they're doing and then just swapped round on the last laps. That's Jamal Gandor who swapped round, but unfortunately it's facing the wrong direction. And the number 9-6, oh no, contact made. Oh, Josh Brown is on top of Jamal Gandor. Top 10 sentences you didn't expect to hear this evening, but Jamal has been involved in an incident, and Josh Brown has been caught up in that one. I think Ericsson has hit Jamal, and that is not the start to the race that Josh Brown would have wanted. We might take another look at that one if we can, as yeah, very disappointing. Jamal just spun round and just in such a terrible position. It's not a wide part of the track, between turn 1 and turn 2. Of course, our own James Rowe Jr. was clattered into there in this year's Rolex 24. So Jamal loses it all on his own. No contact from the outside car then. Holds his brakes, knows his stuff, then spins it back round when he's in a free gap, and he is sat in the middle of the circuit, accelerates towards one, then accelerates towards the other, and then Josh Brown is collected in that one. Stewards might take a dim look at it, but that will be for later on this evening. Here's Sean McClemens looking to avenge his woes from last week when he lost the race win on the last straight to Brandon McGahan. Now he's looking to go past Brandon McGahan, but Wayne Douglas has boxed him in. Brandon has gone very ambitious around the outside. Wayne Douglas has broke mid-corner, which allows that can't be a legal move, surely. It allows Brandon McGahan to sweep round the outside, and he's taken this one up to 4th position, so Douglas is going to have to look to try get that back. He is frustrating Sean McClemens now, however, as McClemens not able to get ahead. Dara Halley, who we're looking at now behind Ken Doyle on the alternate tyres, already struggling. 5 minutes into the race, 5 minutes into the first heat, and he is struggling on that alternate tyres. It's not really a situation you want to be in, and he's burned through a lot of push to pass already. 94 seconds used, and Dara Halley is in a pretty dire situation here. Usually a strong runner in heat number 1, grabs the top 10 here and there, but it's not looking too promising tonight. Dylan McClemens, Jordan Kelly, Ronan Doherty, top 3. And Dylan McClemens, we are looking back from to Jordan Kelly, and Kelly a bit slower through that chicane. McClemens pushing all the way through it. Only used 4 seconds of push to pass as Dylan, and only 8 seconds as Jordan. Ronan's used a little bit more, but of course Dylan and Jordan are in that very powerful tow. So Ronan Doherty is the leader of this one. Tour de France on at the minute, and it's a very similar situation here where Ronan is the one doing all the heavy lifting. Dylan and Jordan are looking to just sweep through at the very last minute and then sprint towards the finish. Sean McClemens has managed to get past Brandon McGaughan, but McGaughan is looking to fight back in a similar move around the outside. Takes all the track limits he can, but not able to hang it around the outside of Sean McClemens this time round. McClemens a lot quicker minimum speeds than Wayne Douglas had on the last trip round, so Sean McClemens is up to 4th place here, and it is a Team Didier 1, 2 and 4. Sean, the only Team Damien Doherty racing car that hasn't won a race this season so far, and we're in round 4 of the championship, so that's pretty good running for the team. It's similar dominance levels to what we saw in the Formula V championship, but that would be more those three's forte. Of course, Ronan and Sean racing in the actual championship. We're on about ICCR again, but ignore it. Ronan and Sean racing in the actual championship, and of course Dylan a future star of Irish motorsport, as we have been saying for well over a year now. Wayne's burned through a lot of push to pass in 6th position, and he's fallen off Sean McClemens and Brandon McGaughan here, despite McClemens and McGaughan fighting. So Wayne struggling with the pace, it seems, despite having good pace in qualifying. So the primary definitely seems to be the better tyre for qualifying around the Daytona Roval, as both Conor Mealy and Wayne Douglas have not been given the rub of the green when staying on this tyre and when everyone else switched onto it. So interesting to see. Like I say, it'll be interesting to see, but if you're not running the primary in race 2, that's a disaster. Like, you have to run this primary tyre for the remaining races. Here we go then. Wayne Douglas with that slipstream has managed to catch back up despite lacking in pace to Brandon McGaughan and Sean McClemens. He's not braved it out in the brakes. He front 2 a lot braver, and McGaughan once again running a little bit wider through the corner. A little bit of a slide, kicks out the rear, just stepping it out for show. And he's going to put the head down and try and get ahead of Sean McClemens once again, or is he? No, slides out once again. So Brandon is starting to struggle on his tyres here. It wasn't a bit of showmanship through the first corner, and there could be an opportunity for Wayne Douglas if he just keeps with the Ballycastle man through the remainder of this lap. Kevin Joyce is lurking in the waters as well. 132 seconds of the overtake assist on board his car, and he's been managing his tyres. Hasn't been involved in any battles so far in this race. Just running a steady race is Kevin Joyce. And he'll be looking to get in front as Wayne Douglas has taken the trip round, and that is disappointing for Wayne. He just had managed to get back in that fight, and unfortunately spinning, and now he's fallen behind Andrew Murphy. So he's fallen behind David Ward and possibly Tony Stack as well. So Wayne Douglas's race has gone from quite good to quite poor very quickly here, and unfortunately for Wayne Douglas, won't be able to continue in the fight for 4th and 5th position. Fight for the win though, fight for the podium places. Jordan Kelly is starting to get a little bit bored, and he's going to look to try and get past Dylan McClemens and potentially Ronan Doherty here. Jordan Kelly's going for broke, going for both of them round the outside. And now the front leading group have swapped round. Jordan Kelly will be the one breaking the air, burning his fuel. Ronan Doherty and Dylan McClemens will be able to sit behind. But that has given us a little bit of a teaser of what to expect maybe coming towards the line, because did you see the toe Jordan Kelly caught, and now Jordan Kelly slid, and this is probably going to be this will be the last lap of the race. So this is a scrap for the race win, but it's going to be decided on that slipstream in the straight, no doubt about that. It's not going to be decided here in the Western Horseshoe, that is for sure. Jordan has gone from arguably the best position in this fight for the win to possibly the worst, because he's going to be towing Ronan Doherty and Dylan McClemens round here. Dylan will be licking his lips at this one. They just need to keep it clean for the Le Mans chicane. Jordan Kelly bolts it out of turn number 6 and turn number 7. Great exit from the Donegal, but that slipstream is all the way back to about 0.8 of a second at this point in the race. He's going to have to do a lot more through the chicane if he wants to try and eke out that gap. Here we go then. This is a deciding moment of the race. Are they all clean through this chicane? Jordan Kelly is clean through, and they've all got a fairly similar exit. And now it's the slipstream fest towards the line. Dylan McClemens is in the tow of Ronan Doherty in front. Ronan Doherty is in the tow of Jordan Kelly. Dylan looks a little bit too far back at this stage in the race. Push to pass being burned left, right and centre. Here comes Ronan Doherty tucked into the tow. Oh, is Jordan Kelly going to have enough here towards the line? I tell you what, he absolutely is. Yes, just about. 0.046. Jordan Kelly wins it at the line. McClemens and McCaughan side by side once again for the second week running, but it is a further gap that separates them two. than it was in Indianapolis. Jordan played his cards beautifully there. Saved his push to pass, burned a lot more than Ronan and Dylan did. Dylan might have been struggling on the fuel because didn't burn an awful lot in that race. And that was a job well done by Jordan Kelly. Takes his first win of the season. That's going to elevate him from 17th in the championship, that's for sure. Ronan Doherty will settle for second and Dylan will have to settle for third. But at least they know how to play their cards come the final 2 heats of action. So McGohan got McClemens once again. So Sean is definitely going to be gunning for Brandon in the final 2 races. Kevin Joyce then 6th. We're looking at Findlay Melvin, who of course was involved in a collision on the opening lap with himself and Conor Melia, and he trundles the car home. Jamal Gandor involved in a collision as well, picked up damage after making contact with Josh Brown. He brings the car home, or will bring the car home, in 17th position. That was an interesting one, to say the least, and a drama-filled race there with Jordan Kelly winning it. Ronan Hederman, as much carnage as you expected?
No, that was relatively clean. I think that was just a bit of a slipstream fest tied in with the push to pass, but like nothing really major to report, bar the small little incidents that happened. But you know, fairly clean by everyone.
Yes, it is Jordan Kelly who takes the race win. Ronan Doherty second, then it is Dylan McClemens, Brandon McGohan, Sean McClemens, Kevin Joyce, Andrew Murphy, David Ward, Tony Stack, Ken Doyle, Wayne Douglas, Dara Halley, Phil Upson, Evan Walsh, Emma Dempsey, Philly Melvin, Jamal Gandor, Ollie Merited, Simon Hutchings and Conor Melia in 20th position. In 21st then, and finishing 21st and will start in 21st spot is David Prunty, and of course we have Sean McGovern and Josh Brown. Let's read some of your stream comments then, and keep them coming in, folks, especially on nights where solo commentary is involved. We like to get your thoughts, as we don't have Kevin's opinions to bounce off. Let's have a look then and see how you reacted to that race. Peter saying that's peak Findlay. Yeah, I unfortunately agree. As Sean McGoldrick bringing an interesting one here, and this is more talking point for the later race, saying in testing last night was vaguely considering that the feature race might be faster with a pit stop. Which is quite interesting because of the way the tyres fall off here, and then Dory immediately saying please no more pit stops. Still haunted probably by the full week's complaining that she's had to listen to from Conor Melia after he was disqualified from last week's feature race. So Jordan Kelly in what is a fantastic livery, I have to say, 7-11, which are on all corners of American streets. A very interesting shop, 7-Eleven, if you've never been to America. It is yeah, it's kind of like, imagine the worst Texaco or Esso or that type of petrol station. That's kind of 7-Eleven, really. Sorry to any of the American viewers watching. Ronan Doherty is in second position, and then Dylan McClemens in third. 3 names that we've said an awful lot tonight, but they're going to be the 3 names fighting for this win as well, you would expect. Just slightly mixed around. Keep an eye on McCollum and McClemens as well in 4th and 5th. They didn't keep with the front crew, but they were lapping the same. Pace car peels in then. Jordan Kelly will be the one to get us underway as we go racing here in Daytona Beach for the 2nd time. Good start for Dylan McClemens, looking to attack Ronan Doherty in towards the first corner, and he has not got ahead. He's now side by side with Brandon McGohan. Sean McClemens just sitting behind. There's a little bit more of a shuffle in the mid-pack. Wayne Douglas getting past Tony Stack. There was a move there as well for Findlay Melvin, who's just managed to get past Phil Upson. That is in for a 13th spot, and Phil Upson actually getting 2 positions. McGoffin and Brown battling in the final positions as well. But Kelly leads comfortably in front. Then it's Ronan Doherty, Dylan McClemens, Brandon McGohan, Sean McClemens. They stay as they were. Evan Walsh looking to go to the outside of Wayne Douglas here. This is Findlay Melvin barrelling down the inside of Tony Stack. And I think Ken Doyle has gone off there. Sorry, Phil Upson. It's Phil Upson who's gone off in the Western Horseshoe. So 2 races, 2 offs in the Western Horseshoe. And now it's Phil Upson this time, not Conor Melia, who is up to 17th spot. So good start for Conor, looking to make amends what's been a pretty dire evening so far. On board with Brandon McGohan then, as we are on the tri-oval section of the circuit, heading down towards the Le Mans / bus stop chicane, and you'll see McGohan late on the brakes try catch Dylan McClemens. He was fighting with Dylan's brother Sean in the last heat. They'll be looking to continue the fight with the McClemens family here. Simon Hutchings, last season's a B Series winner in the British Touring Car Championship. It feels like so long ago now. He is currently running in 15th and catching Wayne Douglas. So Simon showing some strong pace as well, despite it being from one of the minor placings. Here comes Ronan Doherty looking for an early lead change. We didn't get it in heat number 1. We've got it here in heat number 2. And the boy from Dunloy now leading in towards the first corner. It is going to be tyre saving for the majority of this race as the push to pass now active, and Dara Halley making some use of it. Tony Stack running the long way around the outside. That invited Emma Dempsey in as well. Finley Melvin, I tell you what, taking no prisoners here. He's up to 9th position, is Finley, and he is up 6 positions on the race start. Now fighting with Evan Walsh, and there's what's happened to Wayne Douglas and Tony Stack. So famous last words saying they were battling. They've come to a standstill, got going once again, but it's a carbon fibre shower off the front wing of Wayne Douglas's car, and he's left debris all over the circuit. Walsh and Melvin miraculously still alive and still fighting here for 9th place. Evan Walsh is just about ahead, but he's made a little bit of an error through the corner, and Finley Melvin is right on the tail, dives for the low side, swoops up to the high side, and is diving for the low side once again. This is more NASCAR racing that we are familiar with at the Daytona 500 at this fabulous circuit. But Finley Melvin now goes for the inside here towards the Le Mans chicane. This is impending doom, potentially, if they go side by side through here, which of course they do. Evan Walsh has to bail out, cuts across the grass, which is now gravel, of course, in real life, but Evan's not been rewarded that gift. He's had to bobble over the crabgrass, and he is down a position, probably getting away with that one lightly, as it could have been big contact and into the wall, similar to how Conor Melia was on the opening lap in heat number 1. Jordan Kelly still in the race lead, but we have a 5-car train for the race lead. Finley Melvin has now got past Dara Halley. Finley is driving possessed here. He's had some of that monster energy that he's sporting on the side of his car, and he's like Lance Stroll, isn't he? He just has that one absolute unreal race a season. He just turns into Ayrton Senna for one race a season, and it seems to be heat 2 here at Daytona. Evan Walsh struggling. I think that car has damage on it as he's under pressure from Andrew Murphy here, and the 2 old foes, 2 old friends, now fighting out on the circuit as Sean McGovern barrels down the inside. Andrew Murphy no longer fighting with Evan Walsh because he has found a more attractive prospect, and that is chilling in the tyre barrier for a couple of seconds and then falling down to 15th position. Sean McGovern kicking out the rear, just heading up towards the wall at the high side of the banking, but not finding it, crucially. Jordan Kelly burning a lot of his push to pass very early on in this one, probably realised that he has a lot more to use. They didn't even get under the 100-second mark in heat number 1, so Jordan utilising some of that very early on. He was towing only 3 around the last time. He's towing 5 this time. McGaughan and Sean McClements have latched on to the front 3, and they'll be involved in the fight for the race lead. Imagine a 3 wide on the last lap. That would be the stuff of cinema. Ronan Doherty retakes the race lead. They are sharing the wealth at the front a little bit more this time round, and it is a very wide line heading in towards the first corner. So you're definitely allowed to it. That's what McGaughan did. And speaking of Brandon McGaughan, he's off into the wall. Speaking of Brandon McGaughan, is he? No, there's no wall there to hit, and he's very lucky. Very, very lucky. He'll have to rejoin at a bit of a precarious position, but that is race win chance gone for Brandon McGaughan. Despite winning 1 last week, is not going to win 2 this week so far, unless there is, of course, drama. That was a very weird snap for Brandon McGaughan. Almost looked like he'd already exited the corner. Had that last few corners in the back of his mind. Let's have a look on board here and see what happened to Brandon. No, he was losing at mid-corner. Over-correction. And that has caused a slide onto the grass. No power steering, of course, in these cars. That doesn't make much of an effect on the sim, but it is where you get those sort of physics where they stem from, with the overcorrection sending it into a bit of a slide. It's a common mistake at Daytona, that. I've done it many a time myself. Ronan Hederman would probably tell you he's done it many a time himself. Kevin Gavin has definitely done it many a time himself, because I've watched him do it before. So it is a very, very easy thing to do, and Brandon McGaughan, unfortunately, making that error, but still running in 7th, so it's going to be strong points nonetheless. That's put a little bit of a gap between the top 3. It's put a little bit of a gap between Kelly and Dylan McClements, and Jordan Kelly is now going to take the race lead once again ahead of Ronan Doherty. They've changed the tactics, and they're looking to swap every single lap. Kevin Joyce has the head down. He's looking to become the 5th car in this fight and make it a 5-car fight once again. Burning a little bit of push to pass, but this is a good tactic from Kevin. Once he gets in that tow, he can save that advantage once again, and he can manage to fight for a win here potentially. Last time and only time Kevin Joyce won an RTA race was back in the LMP2s in Silverstone, when a cracking fight between himself, Brandon McGaughan and Dylan McClemens saw him take the win and the driver of the day with it. Remember, of course, if you're new around, if you're new around here, once we get to heat number 3, we do ask for your votes for driver of the day. That takes into account all 3 results. So get your votes in there, folks, for our driver of the day. There's been a lot of good performances so far. Conor Melia's had a good performance in this heat. Specifically, both himself and Sean McGovern, your biggest gainers, up 10 positions in 10th and 12th now, respectively. And Conor Melia is fighting with Tipperary's Evan Walsh. It is Clonmel versus the Ivory Coast. The Ivory Coast is going to win on this occasion. Conor Melia just sweeping around the outside, and I think Evan Walsh knows that Conor Melia is probably not his fight here today, and just lets Conor through. Top 2 swapping once again, and this is Deja Vu from the Mustang America's Cup. The 2 McClemens brothers have swapped positions for the first time. That's an interesting one. Sean deciding he is going to lead his brother into battle, and maybe Sean just trying to avoid the impending threat from Kevin Joyce. I wonder, is Kevin going to be as patient then, maybe, as the 2 McClemens brothers? Is he just going to sit behind and let Kelly and Doherty control the pace? Be interesting to see what the tactics are here. We're over halfway through this one though. 8 minutes completed in a 15-minute heat, not plus a lap, it's just 15 minutes. And then once that lap is completed, that is the race done. So interesting to see how this one works out. Here's Conor Melia now attacking Dara Halley. Halley has picked his evening up so far after a disappointing first heat. Conor Melia goes to the outside of the Western Horseshoe, corner he made his mistake on in the first race, and Conor Melia not able to get past for now. So very interesting as we ride on board with Evan Walsh here, heading through the left-hander and out towards the banking. Halley, good exit there from Dara Halley, but Conor Melia is going to want to get this one done very quickly. He probably still, well, I was going to say he wants to get on the reverse grid, but if he gets past Halley, he'll be on the reverse pole, and he'll fancy his chances of a win in Heat 3 from there. Of course, that is what gave him the chance in Indianapolis. Got onto that reverse grid, got a very high starting position on that reverse grid, and was able to win, and then was disqualified. But he was able to win by a dominant margin once he got in front and got a bit of clean air. Jordan Kelly, speaking of clean air, fancies some and takes the race lead. Now Ronan Doherty once again, and it feels like every time we come past the start finish line, I am saying the same thing. Kelly and Doherty swapping. They've eventually got to start battling. This is racing. They're both natural born winners. They want to win, and they'll have to fight for it. Oh, Simon Hutchings being pushed below the apron. Not allowed to do that, and Hutchings now, and David Prunty fighting. And that is that Andrew Murphy involved in it as well? No, sorry, it is that a bit of lap traffic potentially? Oh no, sorry, Andrew Murphy in front of Hutchings and Prunty. Got totally confused there. Apologies, folks, but that is Andrew Murphy in the black and gold. Simon Hutchings in his infamous yellow and grey. And then David Prunty right behind. Here comes Conor Melia to the outside of Dara Halley once again. He's trying to switch back in the Western Horseshoe, but Halley has read that move once again. Fool me once, fool me twice situation. And Dara Halley staying in front for the time being. Frustrating for Melia because he probably thought he was going to blast past Dara Halley, but Halley performing pretty well so far. 10 minutes down in this one. 15 out of the total of 15. We'll see how this one plays out. Now, it is still Jordan Kelly in the race lead, but he's burned a lot more push to pass than Ronan Doherty. Sean McClemens in third is getting on the button now. I don't think we've ever properly said, but the red flashing on that timing tower is them burning the push to pass. You probably came to your own conclusion there anyways, folks, but that is what that red flashing is. And is that Dylan McClemens in the pit lane? No, I think he just dropped over the pit entry briefly. Kevin Joyce has now got past Dylan McClemens, so there is a swap there, and Kevin Joyce in the old McLaren livery by the looks of things is ahead. Kevin knows his racing because he's running the 2018 McLaren livery, but he's not running the 2018 Fernando Alonso, or not, was it 2018? No, it was 2017. He's not running the 2017 Fernando Alonso Indy 500 variant, because in 2017 Alonso DNF'd, And in 2019, he didn't qualify from the race. He was knocked out by Kyle Kaiser in bump qualifying. So Kevin knows, don't run a cursed livery. Run a slightly amended one. And that is what he's doing. He's finding some success. A lot of great liveries in this one. Is Dylan... Oh, what has happened to Dylan McClements? Has he got going again? No, he's dropped off the order. To me, that looked like it was a wheel disconnect of some sort. I don't know if Mr. Sim Racing expert Ronan Hederman from the Sim Consultants has a different conclusion, but to me that looked like Dylan had a bit of hardware issues.
No, I think you're right. That looked... I thought he was making a dive for the pit lane there for a second, and then I think you were right. It's like he had maybe a screen turn off or a wheel disconnect. Yeah, very strange.
Yeah, very strange, because it's not like he ran out of fuel or anything. That's not a problem we have in this heat. And, like, I mean, he's flying now, still going, looking to get past Evan Walsh. So he's definitely not out of fuel or anything of that sort. Very interesting, very peculiar. I'm sure we'll get an update on what happened to Dylan McClements, but that's taken him out of the fight for this one. And Kevin Joyce now is going past his brother Sean McClements, and Kevin Joyce has got it done, but has a wobble on the exit of the first corner. Sean McClements flies back through. They avoid contact. Sean's now got to get on that button, catch back up to Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty. Don't give Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty a bit of breathing room. Kevin Joyce is struggling with the tyres. He's ran wide at the International Horseshoe and seems to have taken himself out of the fight here. So, unfortunately, just coming up short is Kevin Joyce. But we'll wait and see how it plays out. Still plenty of time to go in this one. It is only 2 minutes, but that'll be this lap and the next one. And we'll see how that plays out. This Finlay Melvin you're looking at. Finlay, of course, had a great start to the race. Was cutting through cars left, right and centre, but has dropped down the order a little bit since then. Is only up 3 positions to 13th, but it's going a lot better than Heat 1 did for Melvin. And he's still in the fight here under pressure from Phil Upson. That's why it's not going as well, is because he's got no front wing. So that is why Melvin has encountered some issues. Sean McClements is putting the hammer down in the middle sector here, trying to catch up to Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty once again. And as we're coming towards the line, this will be the last lap of the race, so it's looking like it's going to be Kelly versus Doherty once again, unless Sean McClements can get involved. What's Ronan Doherty going to do here? He's going for the race lead, so he fancies out dragging Jordan Kelly towards the start-finish line in a brilliant camera angle as the white flag raises in towards turn number 1. Sean is in this fight, so Sean McClements is in this one, and he's going to be looking for the race win here. Hasn't won this season, of course, as Sean McClements. Both Kelly and Doherty have as of Heat 1 tonight, so how do they play it? Sean's got to be right close to Jordan Kelly exiting the bus stop, and needs to hope that Jordan is right close to Ronan Doherty. Doherty a lot more push to pass to use, but they've all got enough for the remainder of this lap, so that is a moot point as of now. Little bit of a shake in the rear for Ronan Doherty, exiting in towards turn 6 and 7 and exiting the road course for the final time. Jordan hot on the heels of Ronan Doherty, and this is going to be right close as we're now on board with the Donegal man, number 18, heading towards the bus stop. Needs a good run. He wants to stay on the back of Doherty. Jordan was about 0.4 of a second ahead and won the drag to the line the last time, so he knows what he needs to do to keep with the race leader in towards the chicane. Sean McClements might be a tad too far back as Doherty. That's a great run for the bus stop, but here we go then. Runs high. Jordan Kelly is going to take the low side. Ronan Doherty doesn't fancy the slipstream fest. Jordan is just going to stick to his principles here and go for the low side, and it's working. He's tracking down Ronan Doherty, but is Doherty going to have it? I think he might here. Jordan Kelly's not going to be able to get it. Ronan Doherty will win heat number 2. They'll share the spoils. It is by 0.04 of a second closer than it was in heat number 1, and Ronan Doherty takes the race win here in heat number 2. Jordan Kelly second, Sean McClements in third. So 3 different, or it's a different order, 2 still the same in terms of who's standing on the podium, but it is Ronan Doherty who takes his 3rd win of the RTA IndyCar Series here in heat number 2. Kevin Joyce comes home in 4th spot. Good result for Kevin. Brandon McGaughan will recover to 5th after an earlier issue. And Finlay Melvin has ran the oval spec, no front wing. He'll come home in 14th. We'll have a full run through the results in a few moments' time. It was disappointing for Wayne Douglas. Kind of nowhere in that one, unfortunately, after having some issues earlier on. And Wayne Douglas is going to have to settle for 17 here, despite the pace he showed in qualifying. Not ideal for him. But we'll get the full results in a few moments' time. And confirmation of Ronan Doherty's win. I thought that slipstream was going to be a lot more powerful to the line, to be honest. But still great racing nonetheless. So the way you want to play this is, certainly going into Heat 3, and I'll ask the guys about this, is you want to be leading that last lap. You want to be leading, not in second place, which is usually the way the races are ran here at Daytona. Ronan Doherty, race winner. Jordan Kelly in second. Sean McClements then in third. Kevin Joyce in fourth, out of Brandon McGaughan in fifth. David Ward in sixth. Dylan McClements in seventh, out of Evan Walsh in eighth. Conor Melia in ninth. And it is Sean McGovern, David Prunty, Andrew Murphy, Phil Upson, Finley Melvin, Simon Hutchings, Tony Stack, Wayne Douglas, and it is Dara Halley, Ken Doyle and Jamal Gandor in 20th position. Then Emma Dempsey, Josh Brown and Ollie Meredith. Let's hear from your race winner then, Ronan Doherty. Ronan, congratulations, yourself and Jordan sharing the spoils. And very interesting tactics in that one. You were both swapping and changing. The slipstream as well doesn't seem to be as powerful to the line as people might think. Both yourself and Jordan were leading on the last lap and went on to win.
Yeah, to be honest, I think Jordan's the same. I got a bad run at the bus stop on the first race. But yeah, tactics wise, we're just swapping to try and make sure it's not like everyone sucks up behind the leader and you have like 5 wide into T1, so it's nearly for safety reasons. But no, yeah, it was enjoyable racing.
For the sake of stream entertainment, can we stop the safety reasons? Chaos kind of does well on this channel. In terms of Daytona then in an IndyCar, is it a weird experience or do you not really take notice of that sort of thing?
A little bit, but I'm not complaining because my actual pace seems to be 3 or 4 tenths ahead of everyone else in practice and stuff, which is good. It's just if there's going to be one track where you'd like that, it's definitely not Daytona because pace doesn't even matter. But yeah, look, it's an interesting challenge, and usually I'd be driving this in GT cars or something, but it definitely makes the racing closer.
Are you happy to be back on a road course compared to last week? And
Yep.
my follow-up question for that is, are you happy to be starting 8th on a road course rather than an oval?
Yeah, I just got wiped out in every single race last week. Even when I was trying to fuel save and stuff in the last race for a shorter pit stop. But look, it's just the way it goes, and been fairly unlucky in this championship so far, but I'm enjoying it.
Ronan Doherty, thank you very much and best of luck for heat number 3.
Thank you.
And now we have time to hear from second place, Jordan Kelly.
So
Jordan, congratulations. A win in heat number 1, second in heat number 2. Ronan was telling us, yourself and himself, swapping at the front almost for safety reasons.
yeah, probably. We probably hit each other. Well, I'm prone to hitting Ronan anyway, so probably is better for safety, alright. I was just thinking more to the push pass, just use it up like evenly between us, but that might be a bit of a challenge now in the next one, but we'll see.
Yeah, heat 3, 2 questions quickly on it. First is, what's the plan to cut through the pack then? Because when you had the clean air at the front, you're way quicker than everyone else, but now you have to overtake.
Yeah, hopefully try and get to the front quickly, but because it's always the safest place, I think. But we'll see how things go.
And then the other thing is, how do you think the tyres are going to fare up? Because some people considering in this race potentially a pit stop.
Yeah, I think it's kind of my own fault. I should have added more fuel because somebody had mentioned it last night, and I was going to add more fuel into the setup, but people are just going to see a bit of fuel saving. But I think it's only the person out the front that's going to have the most usage. So we'll see how that goes.
Jordan, thank you very much, and best of luck for heat number 3.
Thanks, Evan. Chat to you later.
And now, quick word from Sean McClements then. We have about 30-ish seconds. Sean, podium for you.
Yeah, this is good enough tonight. Especially compared to last week, where I had a few spins and stuff. So try keep out any incidents in the last race and see how this one goes.
0.018 separating you and the win last week. What's the plan to get it here?
Defend the inside would be a good start.
It would. Break the toe and defend the inside. We'll let you go. Get ready for heat number 3 then, and hopefully we have a bit more time to talk to you after.
Alright, Evan, cheers.
That was weirdly formal for Sean McClellan standards. I was expecting something there at the end. Ronan Hederman, it's been an interesting evening so far, but my opinion is that we still have... It's left a lot to be imagined.
Yeah, slightly longer race now. I'm not entirely sure how things are going to fare. But yeah, if and let's be honest, when Ronan and Jordan and them jump up to the top of the grid, they're going to be safe in a way, but it just means the first, say, 2 to 3 laps are going to have to be extremely clean, or they might be losing out on a good bit of points.
Well said, Ronan. I agree with you on that wholeheartedly. And we have an interesting pole sitter, and it is Evan Walsh on his debut, starting on pole here in heat number 3. Dylan McClemens in second. It was a PC shut off for a split second that caused him to have that moment into the pit lane. Keep an eye on Dylan because he's going to have that clean air and might be able to pull away at the front. David Ward in third, and Brandon McGaughan in fourth. Kevin Joyce in fifth, Sean McClemens in sixth, and Jordan Kelly, Ronan Doherty. That is your reverse grid. Conor Melia then starts in ninth. Didn't get on that reverse grid in the end. Sean McGovern in 10th, and it is David Prunty in 11th. And Andrew Murphy in 12th. And it's Phil Upson, Finley Melvin, Simon Hutchings, Tony Stack, Wayne Douglas, Dara Halley, Ken Doyle, Jamal Gandor. Then it is Emmett Dempsey, Josh Brown, and Ollie Meredith. Remember, folks, towards the end of this one, get your driver of the day nominees in. If you have any other thoughts, questions, queries, opinions, or even jokes, make sure to put them in to the stream chat. Make sure also to subscribe here to us here on Gantry TV. We love bringing you RTA coverage, and we love having your support as well to allow us to keep doing this. It costs absolutely nothing. It'll take a split second, so make sure to hit that subscription button. Well then, it is a very slow warm-up lap here. I'm not too sure why we're so slow. It's Evan Walsh doing this one. In the words of Ronan Hederman, I'm not sure if it came out in the stream. What is Evan doing? He's not talking about me for once. It is Evan Walsh who is trying the Oscar Piastri tactics here, it seems, of just slowing everybody right up to try and catch someone out. This is. Oh, and now he's gone. This is a unique tactic from Evan Walsh, one we haven't seen here at Daytona tonight, but as far as I can tell, we go racing here in heat number 3, and he has caught some people napping because he's got himself a healthy margin. Evan Walsh channeling his inner Sonny Hayes here, it seems, and going for the weird opening lap tactics. He's not caught out young Dylan McClemens, who's going for it in towards the first corner, as is Sean McClemens, diving down the inside of both David Warren and Brandon McGaughan. That is a cutthroat move, and quite a beautiful one from Sean McClemens, who's up to third, and he's up 3 places already. Dylan McClemens' brother going for the race lead on Evan Walsh in towards the first corner, who tried those tactics to get a good launch here. It's not really worked out. He's down to second, and now Sean McClemens is going for it here in towards the Western Horseshoe on the outside line. Needs to be careful of his braking, doesn't want to run into the grass, but he's going to try and sweep it round the outside here of Evan Walsh. Is he able to pull it off? Oh, he absolutely is. What a beautiful move from Sean McClemens. It's a rejuvenated Sean McClemens here in the IndyCar. We haven't seen him pull off moves like that in quite some time, but what a great start to the race. Brother by brother, they lead. It's Dylan who leads Sean here at the opening lap. David Ward down in position. Jordan Kelly down in position. Ronan Doherty up 1, getting past Jordan. Ollie Meredith up 4 at the back of the grid. He's got a great start. There was problems for Phil Upson, but he was having some problems on the warm-up lap itself. Dylan McClemens leads by 7/10 of a second. What does he do here? Does he continue the family ties and tow along his brother, or does he try bolt away at the front? It's got to be difficult to do so. Sean will be straight on that boost button once he's able to do so at the start-finish line to try and get back into that slipstream. Here comes Kevin Joyce, looking for it on David Ward, looking for the move on Ward here. In towards turn number 1. David Ward, of course, a fine sim racer, a 2-time VTCS champion, a 1-time LOA sprint champion, so he's got a lot of accolades. But crucially, Kevin Joyce, 1-time RTA winner. He knows how to do it here in this series, and he's going to try it down the inside. Izzy was early on the brakes. That invites Brandon McGohan to go to the outside. We all went pinballing into the international horseshoe for a second there, but thankfully we've all come out unscathed. And Brandon McGohan, cutthroat, gets the move done. Ronan Doherty looking to follow suit here. This is going to have to be ambitious from Ronan Doherty, but he's a multi-time RTA champ for a reason, and he's able to pull that one off on David Ward and gets the job done here down the inside. He'll box that one off nicely, and Jordan Kelly will look to follow him through, but David Ward cuts it off. Kevin Joyce, unfortunately, has just been blown by Ronan Doherty, and Jordan Kelly wasn't able to follow them through on David Ward. Although, sorry, Kelly's still behind David, so we'll have to wait and see. And David Ward now has to run on Ronan Doherty. This is the last thing that Doherty wants. Doesn't really want a slower car getting in his way. Ronan Doherty feels that he has a 4/10 of a second advantage, but he doesn't have an advantage on the brakes, but he sells him a dream. What a beautiful move by Ronan Doherty. Sells him an absolute dream. David Ward put the deposit on it, and he's been absolutely sent. Brilliant move from Ronan Doherty. Very, very clever indeed, and gets the job done. Broke nice and early, let Ward shoot across the first part of the chicane, and just hooked up the second bit absolutely excellently. Ronan Doherty is up and into 5th position. Evan Walsh now fighting with Brandon McGohan. McGohan is going to try this ridiculously wide outside line. It's a very big circuit here at Daytona. The infield alone could fit Disneyland twice, 180 acres in total, and Brandon McGohan is using every ounce of it. He's not able to get past though, and he's actually now behind Ronan Doherty for whatever reason. So he's having some problems. Might have got a bit of a slowdown there. Has he used too much of that 180 acre infield? Potentially. Kevin Joyce looking for the move on Conor Melia now. This is what we expected in the first 2 heats. This has been brilliant action in the first 4 minutes so far, but they've all got to concentrate on saving their tyres, and that is what Dylan McClements and Sean McClements will be doing at the front of this one. 1.9 second race lead over Evan Walsh in 3rd here. Ronan Doherty in 4th, Jordan Kelly in 5th, and it is Brandon McGohan, David Ward, Conor Melia, Kevin Joyce and Sean McGovern rounding out the top 10. Dara Halley up 5 spots since the race start. Good start for Dara Halley. Wayne Douglas up 3. Ollie Meredith up 6 now. So young Ollie is performing excellently in that Turn 3 Motorsport car. Or certainly he carts for Turn 3 Motorsport. Oh no, it is. It's listed as Turn 3. So STK not lying to me. Conor Melia now in the slipstream of David Ward in front. And Conor Melia will be looking to get closer towards the podium places by the end of this one. Goes for the outside line, revving all the way through 6th gear here. He's going to have to brave it out Brandon McGohan style if he wants to try and pull this one off. Is he going to go for the Ronan Doherty-esque switchback? Here he is, but I think David Ward has learned from his errors. Speaking of Ronan Doherty, got ahead of Evan Walsh, and now Jordan Kelly is ahead as well. Alright Ronan, you talked the talk, it's time to walk the walk. Bit of clean air now, 2.9 seconds to catch your 2 teammates in front. Are you really 4/10 of a second quicker than the rest of the field? Now is time to prove it. Jordan Kelly dives down the inside of Evan Walsh, late in the brakes, putting those brake discs to good use. He is able to get ahead, so Walsh will settle behind for now. Great start to the race here. I tell you what, unbelievable start, and a long way to go. A very long way to go if you are one of the McClementses, because you found yourself in a very uncommon race, a large race lead here in this IndyCar Championship. We'll wait and see. Sean McGovern, no fear, diving towards the apron, diving towards that yellow line, and now diving down the inside of Conor Melia here, still side by side, and Sean McGovern, that is a brilliant move by McGovern, but he's definitely corner cut there. He's going to have to slow down or maybe give up that place to Conor Melia. Conor Melia will just stay behind for now, but he's not going to be too happy with that one. Here comes Jordan Kelly then, looking for the move on Ronan Doherty. This is the interesting thing, because Doherty might have all the pace in the world, but he's still got 2 free cars right behind him who are going to be gunning for his place. So Jordan or Ronan needs Jordan to almost act as his wingman here, but Brandon McGowan doesn't fancy that. He's trying to make the move stick on Evan Walsh, and they're still side by side here through turn number 1 and turn number 2. Thankfully, it works out all okay. Evan Walsh still staying in front. It wasn't a Rolex 24 crash there, and Evan Walsh slides the rear, catches it well. But that is Brandon McGowan, who is ahead. I saw Johnny Hollywood calling Evan Walsh Lando Norris earlier. That was a Lando Norris-esque mistake there. As, you'll never guess who Johnny's affiliations are with in Formula 1 based on that comment, but certainly not Lando Norris anyways. Speaking of McLaren, Kevin Joyce in the McLaren livery, looking for the move on David Ward, and Ward has held up well, Wardy, as he's called by good friends in the stream comments, doing a nice job and staying in front here. He's really gelled to RTA as David Ward, a very consistent runner, and not someone who finds himself in trouble too often. Of course, got his first ever RTA podium last week at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Looking for another one here, but long way to go in 7th place. 7.5 minutes down as Jordan Kelly is just caressing on the edge of danger, almost hitting that wall on the outside, and that wall is unforgiving. You're not bouncing off that too lightly, and Jordan would have definitely picked up damage if he had been any closer, but he's now going to try and pick up 3rd place instead. That gap up the front is extending, so Sean and Dylan McClemens are doing an unbelievable job here, and exactly what they need to do if they want to finish 1-2 here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. It's been a while since they finished 1-2. It's been a while since they've both had good luck on the same evening, it seems, but it's happening tonight. But I'm also probably just put a commentator's curse on it, and Sean probably won't let me back into his house again, but we'll say nothing. David Ward, Kevin Joyce, side by side. Oh, Kevin Joyce puts it close. David Ward clips the back of him. That's damage for Ward. And is there going to be... Oh, well, there's not going to be a puncture for Kevin Joyce because he would have got it by now, but that is damage definitely for David Ward, and you can already see him running that little bit wide. He's going to be struggling for grip. Front wing totally gone for David. So that is disappointing. But if he could get back to the pits and get that damage fixed, he can also change tyres, which might not work out the worst. It's probably not going to be a 7th place finish for David Ward, but it's not as disastrous as maybe picking up damage in heat number 1 or heat number 2. Kevin Joyce will stay in front because he just has that extra downforce on David Ward. He's able to carry it through the corner for sure. Johnny Hollywood, our resident RTA fan, former RTA driver, of course, complaining about the race start as well. It was definitely intriguing, that's for sure. It was it made this very interesting though, so I'm thankful to Evan Walsh for causing a little bit of carnage. Jordan Kelly overtaking Ronan Doherty, 3.8 now. That gap has closed for the first time to the McClemenses in front. So 9 minutes and 30 seconds into this one, still over half to go. You can already slowly see some tyre struggles. You can already slowly see some issues in terms of those who haven't done a great job at saving their tyres, maybe a lack of experience in the car, and Evan Walsh runs very wide, almost collects into Kevin Joyce, but Kevin Joyce is able to hang it around the outside, and this has been a great effort so far for Kevin Joyce in this race, and this could be a splendid move indeed, but Walsh is pushed all the way wide. Kevin Joyce not giving him an inch, and Evan is going to have to concede that one. Kevin Joyce able to get in front, and he's now up to 6th position here, and looking for what will be one of his best results of the season. It won't quite be a podium for the former Singaporean resident, but it is 6th position there. Still Kelly, who leads Ronan Doherty. Ronan's done a good job saving the push to pass. Obviously Jordan's burned a little bit more because he was further back than Ronan at one point in this race, and Dylan McClemens has burned quite a bit because he's leading. He wants to extend that gap. But these two are going to now put the head down and start slipstreaming. What Dylan and Sean need is for fellow Antrim resident and Ballycastle man Brandon McGowan to start fighting with Jordan and Ronan, really, and just halt their progress. They could do with a lap car in between. If someone was lapped in this race and came out in front of Ronan Doherty, that would be disastrous for him in pretty much Stingray Rob style. which he seemed to do a few times in IndyCar. If you're not an IndyCar fan, by the way, I haven't just made up that name. That is his name, Stingray Rob. You can Google that. That is his name, and he doesn't come across as a Stingray Rob, that's for sure. He's probably one of the nicest guys actually in the field, and very religious, and preaches that before every race, that he's all about the love of racing, and he loves his family, and he loves all his friends and stuff like that, which, I don't know, do you expect that from someone called Stingray? But he's called Stingray because of his dad's love for the car, and two, he's a Scottish uncle called Ray. So there's your random bit of unnecessary knowledge for this evening's RTA IndyCar stream. Speaking of Scottish, Finlay Melvin, not having a great time. He's not in this one. Down in 19th, and it's 2 laps down. So disappointing for Finlay. He's going to have to... well, he's not actually even running. He is sat in the pit lane. He's gone to make himself a nice cup of tea and a fresh sandwich, and he is out of this. Or you'll probably be asking someone else to make him a sandwich, but... anyways, Conor Melia going for the move on Evan Walsh now, trying it round the outside here, and Kevin Joyce is involved in this as well. Evan Walsh sort of boxed in, has nowhere to go. Conor Melia plays it nice, runs very wide. Evan Walsh on the inside in the VRA livery, and Conor Melia... alright, Evan's not that new to racing. He didn't have to give him that much of a wide berth. Conor Melia making sure that Evan Walsh could have fit a Stena line in that gap, but then Evan Walsh makes an absolute Hames in the next hairpin, and Conor Melia is through anyway, so Conor's tactic working out quite well there. Still plenty of time to go in this one. Gap not closing between second and third, which is the crucial fight we're looking at in this one. And this is third and fourth you're looking at, and fifth, Ronan Doherty, Jordan Kelly and Brandon McGaughan. This is all going to come down to saving the tyres, as Emma Walsh, sorry, to the long side of the country, Emma Dempsey, coming out on the alternate tyres here, coming out from the pit lane on the alternates, so fancying a bit of a strategical change. She is 2 laps down, so it's not going to matter much, but just trying something. I'm going to keep an eye on the lap times to see what it's like, see is a pit on the alternates worth it, but I can't imagine it is, because it's a very long pit lane at Daytona. It's a 24-hour race pit lane, so I can't see how a pit stop would be worth it in this one, especially if you're one of the top placing runners. Maybe if you're an Ollie Meredith or a David Prunty or a Ken Doyle or something, it's worth throwing the hat at it, but we will wait and see. Here comes Evan Walsh once again on Conor Melia and Kevin Joyce. Joyce and Melia side by side through the first corner and through the start-finish line once again. Conor Melia running a much tighter line this time round, doesn't invite Evan Walsh through, so Walsh will have to settle for 8th position as it stands, and they will go back line astern into the International Horseshoe. Here's Tony Stack and Sean McGovern fighting, and that's by far the widest line we've seen through turn 1 for Sean McGovern. That is not even close to the apex, but that is the line you want to take. It's a weird corner. That Sean McGovern, oh, that's way too late in the brakes. Not a hope he's getting that one stopped, and it is going to be into the Armco barrier, unfortunately, for Sean McGovern. And it was almost a wave of the white flag there. Dived it down the inside, wasn't able to get it stopped. IndyCar brakes are very good, but they're not miracle workers. And unfortunately, Sean McGovern, that'll be the end of the evening for him. Not quite the lofty heights of Indianapolis, where he took his first RTA win. He will settle for a poor haul of points here. And of course, Sean McGovern doesn't have a drop round to play with. Didn't race in Road America, so doesn't have a drop round to play with. So disappointing, but wasn't expecting to be in the championship fight. He's still putting up a good showing nonetheless. Is the current Celtech Safety Fiesta Z-Tech Championship leader. That's your final ICCR reference of the day anyways, folks. You can all rest now. Jordan Kelly, Ronan Doherty, Brandon McGaughan as they were. Kevin Joyce, Conor Melia not as they were. Now side by side, Conor Melia trying the long run. Not able to make it work this time round. Kevin Joyce will stay in front. It's very similar to how he won in Silverstone all those seasons ago in the LMP2 Championship for Kevin Joyce. Not necessarily the quickest man, but stayed in front, and that's crucially. It was the great Murray Walker who said, it was Murray Walker and Martin Brundle both used to say it. It's one thing to catch, it's another thing to pass, and Conor Melia has found that out twice tonight. Was stuck behind Dara Halley in heat number 1, had the pace by far, wasn't able to get past. He's found that again here with Kevin Joyce, not able to find a way through. Not able to take sixth place in this one. But Conor Amelia doesn't want to be fighting for sixth. He wants to be fighting for race wins. There's Dylan McClements. Still in the race lead. And Ronan Hederman whispering in my ear saying these boys are not getting caught. And at this point, I'd have to agree with him. Still a 4.2 second lead. Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty are not making inroads. Now, I have a follow-up question for you, the audience, for everyone watching at home. How do Dylan and Sean go about this one? Because if they start fighting now, they could lose this win. How do they play their cards here? Dylan is the championship leader. If you were going for the team tactics, you would give the win to him. Sean is the only one of the Team DDR cars who hasn't won this season. And Sean McClements' last win came in the F4s, where he took 3 wins. It was a very good season for him in the F4s. How are they going to play this one? Very interesting. As Conor Amelia looking for the move on Kevin Joyce here. Is he able to finally get past? Yes, he is. He throws Evans' words of not wisdom out the window, and he's able to get ahead finally. Conor Amelia is into 6th position here. Ronan Hederman, final time maybe we'll bring you in before the race end. How would you play it if you're Sean and Dylan?
I knowing Sean more in this particular circumstance, he's going to play team rules here. He will want Dylan to get the majority of points here, considering that Dylan's at the top of the championship right now. So he definitely will be leaving him out for the win. Their tactic, superb. They have used their push to pass spectacularly. They've used it precisely down to the last little bit of it, to be honest, because I was watching it and 10 minutes in they had half of their push to pass left, so they're using it so tactically, is probably the best word. And no matter what Doherty or Kelly are doing in terms of drafting each other, they're not catching them. In fact, the actual McClements have gone off and increased their lead significantly.
Yeah, and I have to bring up one big talking point. There is Ronan Doherty switch back on Brandon McGaughan. There is a fight here. We'll get back to that talking point in a moment, because Jordan Kelly, Brandon McGaughan, are they going to go side by side through the kink and down through the dog leg? No, they're not. Kelly not going to brave it out in the brakes. Brandon McGaughan is going to go for the outside, and Ronan Doherty here. This has come from nowhere, this fight. Seeing spirit from Brandon McGaughan. He'll stay behind. One crucial thing I have to bring up is Sean's bravery on that opening lap. To go for those 3 big moves is arguably the reason Dylan has won this one. Because obviously if it was Dylan out on his own, he would have been caught by now. Everyone else is slipstreaming each other, he would have been caught. But because he's had his brother in support, after he made those 3 big moves and got up to him, they've won this one. And it has been a fabulous performance. They'll have one more lap to deal with, but no mistakes, and it will be a McClements win. There's a great photo opportunity in it. I'm starting to sound like the guy from Ford versus Ferrari, whose name escapes me, where he was asking for the photo finish back in Le Mans in 1966. But there's a great photo in it, but I don't think they're going to take that risk. Kamto Chukawa saying Papaya rules, McClements edition. Admittedly, I think calling a team order about a Catholic family from Antrim Papaya rules has a slight problem in it, but I'll let people figure that one out on their own. As Ronan Doherty and Jordan Kelly, that's the first real mistake from Jordan Kelly tonight, and Ronan Doherty able to sweep through and gets ahead. Brandon McGaughan is in third in this one. This is going to be a sickener for Ronan and Jordan if they don't even finish on the podium in this one, because they probably would have expected to fight for the win here. Conor Amelia battling with Evan Walsh, and another person who's going to be probably disappointed is going to be Conor Amelia. But they're all just hanging on to their tyres, it seems, at this point. And Brandon is actually extending the gap here. So he's looked after those Firestone primary tyres very, very well indeed. Sean has backed off. He's letting Dylan extend the gap. It's now 1.1 seconds and is 5.4 seconds to the rest of the field. It's going to be a drag race to the line between McCaughan, Doherty and Kelly, and we'll keep our eyes on that one. But we have to just commend the unbelievable performance here from Dylan McClements and Sean McClemens, who are rounding through the final corners now, entering the tri-oval to complete the 3.5 miles here. It has been a McClemens masterclass here in Daytona, and for the third time this season, I should say, Dylan McClemens will win in the RTA IndyCar Series, but he comes alongside with his brother in his arm. It's been a 1-2 for them. Is it going to be a 1-2-3 for Team DDR? Jordan Kelly and Ronan Doherty crashing. Brandon McGaughan gets airtime. Doherty comes home in front. That got very close, and they're lucky they crashed after the start-finish line. Well, that would have been mayhem. Evan Walsh comes home in 6th, gets ahead of Kevin Joyce in the last lap. What a result for Evan Walsh. Very well done for a debut in the IndyCars. Kevin Joyce then in 7th, Conor Amelia in 8th, Dara Halley 9th, David Ward in 10th, Andrew Murphy 11th, Tony Stack 12th, and then it will be Phil Upson. David Pruddy didn't fancy using the push to pass, as 80 seconds of it, but what a result for Dylan McClemens in the championship. And could he be on for a second one? He's definitely the favourite for it now. Definitely the favourite is Geraldine, Dylan and Sean's mum asking for the McClemens film. Look, if I have a bit of free time in college, I'll get to it. We'll do an RTA production, but we'll get someone to make a song for it, and we'll get the full shebang. Ronan sure has nothing to be doing; he can edit it, and I was waiting for the dig there, to be honest, Ronan, but it didn't come. What has happened to Jamal? How's Jamal ended up in this fight? This could be anything. Let's have a look at the replay. This could be really anything. How's Jamal ended up in this situation? So he's coming in towards turn 6. Is it going to be a slide into the wall? Does he lose the rear? He's done a Brandon McGaughan. Oh! That's a big collision. That's a big bit of contact off the wall. He's bounced back off that. And yeah, so that's how Jamal has got into that predicament. Oh, we're going to have to wait for him to finish, aren't we? Is there... can we get a bit of Benny Hill music or something? Or elevator music. This is... Please, iRacing. Please, iRacing. We don't know where he is. This... Where's Wally? Jamal Gandor edition. Oh, thank the Lord. We get race results. It's 10:30 at night. I didn't fancy sitting for another 10 minutes waiting for Jamal to come home, as much as I love the man. Dylan McClemens takes the win ahead of Sean McClemens in 2nd, Ronan Doherty 3rd, Brandon McGaughan in 4th, then it's Jordan Kelly, Evan Walsh, Kevin Joyce, Conor Amelia, Dara Halley, David Ward, Andrew Murphy, Tony Stack, Phil Upson, David Prunty, Ollie Meredith, Jamal Gandor, Emma Dempsey, Ken Doyle, Sean McGovern, Simon Hutchings, Wayne Douglas, and Josh Brown, unfortunately, who didn't get any running in that one. So it is the Team DDR 1-2-3. Shall we go for the chaotic approach and bring all 3 of them in at the same time? Yep, let's go for it. Let's bring them all in. I'm going to give you a hand bringing them in here, Ronan. So let's hear from the entire team, and we'll have a slight family gathering in the interview room. Dylan, Sean, Ronan, 1, 2, 3. But we're going to start with the 2 McClemens brothers first and foremost. Dylan, 3rd win of the season. 1 hand on the championship, would you say? It's quite a healthy lead.
Too early to tell now. Everything can happen these last 4 races, but it's actually feel good to win 3 now after since my LMP2.
Yourself and Sean, of course, a masterclass at the front. Sean, first lap though really made the difference for you. 3 brilliant moves, 3 cutthroat overtakes, and just brilliant bits of racing. That got you towards the front, and you were able to help your brother.
Yeah, no, that's me and Dylan were just chatting about that there in the interview room. Like the first sort of lap was basically got me to where I was. So once I seen Dalton out in the front, I knew he had incredible pace, to be fair to him. So, and I know he's leading the championship, so the whole time we were just right, follow gap, and then at the end we were going to go for a photo finish type thing. I was never going to overtake him. Like he earned that one. He played a blinder there the day, and he drove fantastic. So I was never going to try and overtake him for that.
we're just looking at the move on Evan Walsh once again, sending it round the outside West Horseshoe first lap. Was it just a case of, look, send it, see what happens, or is there any doubt going for that? Because that's brave stuff, first lap in an IndyCar.
Ah, well, look, let's say we sort of seen Dylan in the front, and I knew if there was any sort of incident behind us, we could pull a gap. So it was kind of a bit of a send. Wee bit of PTSD going for it, but here, look, has to be done. So,
Oh, Jesus, Sean.
no,
We
it was,
better hope he's not watching, or we'll never get away with this.
but no, just more of a send, and sure, happy it worked out. So.
Then we'll come back to you both, but Ronan, totally different race for you, yourself, Jordan, and Brandon, and then it all came to a froth at the end. Bit of contact across the line, but swapping and changing all throughout the race. You must have enjoyed the battle.
Yeah, it was good crack, especially the last 4 laps. We were just going at it, and before that we tried to sort of touch down Sean, but it just wasn't going to work at all. Like we were just sort of doing the same lap times, and they were way ahead. To be fair to them, to the two of them, Dylan was driving well, and yeah, we just had a good scrap.
As far as sort of, I think one of them is watching that crash. We're just looking at it now. Ronan, a bit
Well,
close to
Brandon moved up. That's for sure. And I I'm not gonna put an incident in or anything because it was just good crack, and I got my third place anyway somehow over the line.
Let's analyse this one. Debunk this one first, then, Ronan, as we're looking at it now.
2 seconds to pull it up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
sorry.
so
Probably should have told you to join first.
as Jordan's coming towards me, I know I have to move out to block him so I can take that middle lane. And at this point, I knew Jordan wasn't going to pass me to the line, and I'm looking pretty good here. So then I see Jordan goes for the 3 wide, and I'm like, right, just hold my line. But if you watch Mr. McCann just slowly creeping on it, look at that's disgraceful. That is absolutely disgraceful on a fellow Ballymena man there. And my end plate crosses the line before Brandon gets there.
That was reminiscent of that League Two manager who's that interview where that's just great. Or no, that's disgusting. I'm thinking of bootlegger. Sorry.
We actually, whenever we cross the line, I drop the. Oh, you just knew that was gonna happen.
Right, we'll try just confuse everyone who's isn't constantly on TikTok like we are. Ronan Doherty, no win tonight, or no win, sorry, in Heat 3. It can't get worse than this, can it?
Yeah, it can. Last week it can.
Can't get worse than Indianapolis, can it? It can.
No, big thanks to the mechanics too for repairing my car after Indy there. And I'm actually surprised I survived it. So yeah, big thanks to Team DDR mechanics, like working hard all through the night.
Worst Indianapolis performance since Scott McLaughlin 2025, to be brutally honest. Back to the serious interview then. A question for all three of you. You can divvy it up as you like. What's the goals for the remainder of the season then? Because obviously we have to come back here to Daytona for another oval race. The three of you don't like them, despite Sean and Dylan getting good results. Is it just as you've always taken it, take it race by race, or is there a longer goal here?
Well, I think we'll just. For me, I'm just going to send it, see what happens, like tie race per race, sort of. I know Dylan's leading, so if I can help him in any way, I'll be doing as much as I can. But race per race, to be honest, try to give a hand out to the lads. They're up further in the championship than I am, so just giving the lads a hand.
We always work together and stuff when we can, and help each other out, like in quali. Although Sean was like, I don't know what, as they say, he was eating jammy Dodgers in the apexes, so he didn't quite get up there with me and Dylan, but he made up for it in the races and drove very well. But yeah, no, championship wise, I think Dylan's got a good lead. After drop scores, I'm probably like 20 odd points behind. So we'll see what happens.
It'll definitely be a battle to the end, but I think my goal is to survive in a oval race. A bit mayhem.
Survive an oval race, and I suppose it's better that Sean's eating jammy Dodgers than eating the ground for once. Any final comments, lads, just to wrap up this sort of McClellan? Oh, sorry, one final thing is that Sean and Dylan, your mother wants an F1 movie made about you too, so I'll get working on that.
Well, yeah, well, thanks for making an F1 film, and thanks for letting me race tonight. You know, it was great.
Do we get paid?
No, only I get paid in RTA. Oh, sorry. No, do it for love. Do it for love. Do it for
No,
love.
we like to thank
Gentlemen,
everyone for watching and thank the stream, and good night.
thank you very much, folks. That was Dylan McClemens, Sean McClemens, and Ronan Doherty, who we heard from there, the three Team DR podium sitters. Wow, what an interesting evening of racing that was. A great race in Heat 3, I have to say, thoroughly enjoyed that one. Now it's the difficult point where we talk about driver of the day. Do we have any nominees in the chats? Let's have a look at this one. Johnny Hollywood saying Kevin Joyce. That's a great shout, actually. Johnny is usually fairly on the ball, and I have to say I agree with that one. I think I see a Dylan McClemens there. Driver of the day, Sean McClemens from, well, you can guess, Sean McClemens. Ronan Hederman, any suggestions?
Yeah, I was going to say Kevin Joyce. He was consistently clean, great battling all evening, stayed relatively up towards the front. I know he dropped 2 places in that race, but yeah, very clean, consistent racing from Kevin this evening.
I think we'll go Kevin Joyce then. Gantry TV driver of the day did very well in that final battle. Unfortunate to lose out to Evan Walsh, but a great effort from Kevin Joyce, and he wins your RTA Gantry driver of the day. Well, folks, a big thanks for joining us tonight. Great bit of racing action. And next week, of course, we will be heading to Mid-Ohio, the Mid-Ohio Sports Course. We're just off the back of it in IndyCar. It was a great battle between Alex Palou and Scott Dixon late race on the fuel and on the strategy. We're hoping it'll be side-by-side action around one of the shorter circuits on the calendar. Thank you very much for watching, folks. A big thanks, of course, to all our RTA admins and those hard at work behind the scenes, especially all the work that goes on our fabulous website, rtavirtualmotorsport.com, folks. You can check out all the incidents, all the series, and all the points. Big thanks to Ronan Hederman, as always, and a big thanks to motorsport.ie as well, who have been sponsoring RTA for quite some time now. Great coverage on Irish motorsport, and a job always well done by Leo and team. My name's been Evan Dalton, folks. Thank you very much for tuning in to RTA's IndyCar series here on Gantry TV. Stay safe, stay well, and we'll catch you next week. Slán go fóill.